Where's the better angle?
Which side?
Alright, welcome back. We're continuing on our Certificate 3 in Hospitality. We're moving into the food and beverage section of this course. By the end of this cluster, you'll be able to contribute opinions and advice to customers by matching food with wine. And today we're using Australian wines only, because they're very different they're a New World wine, which we'll get to. We've already completed our RSA because it's a prerequisite of this course, so we've already done that. But it doesn't give you all the information that you need for this course, because this is very, this course is more to get you into the sommelier world, which we'll discuss what that word means in a second. Later we're going to watch a short video with Gordon Ramsay and Matthew Skinner, who is the Australian Sommelier of the Year. And we're going to highlight the benefits from this course and how it can take you all over the world. It's a 30-minute session that we've got today. We're going to have a small 1 to 2 minute break in between because we're going to drink a lot of wine, so we need to have a little bit of a woo-hoo halfway through. So in that time we can go to the toilets, and they're always where they have been, which is up this path and to the right. And the tea room's behind me for water, but I've got some water on the table too. In case of emergency, we're going to exit out of this door or here and outside.
Speakers. That's fine. Oh, yeah, I'll have to get them.
And we're going to reconvene in Mountford Park if there's an emergency. We have a little bit of discussion, some background videos to watch before getting into the exciting bit of drinking and eating, or what we like to call R&D for F&B, pairing advice. There you go. We'll get to that later as well. First, we're going to start to get to know each other a little bit more. We're going to play a bit of a game, and I'm going to give out, just take 2 of these sheets each.
2 each.
And we're going to play a game called My Favourite Drink Is. And we're just going to, if everyone can go around, we'll start with Sam this time. And just give us, just to get a background knowledge of who we are. Just
favourite drink or love, or just favourite?
Favourite, let's go alcoholic beverage for today. And I'm just going to jot them down on here. You don't need to write them on there, but we will get to that sheet in a second.
Mine is Jack Daniels and Coke.
JD and Coke.
It used to be the lemon one that they had, but they took it off the market.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah.
A lemon.
Flora milk.
Golly. Yeah. Grant.
I'm a hard hitter, tequila.
Yeah.
And this.
Vodka and passion fruit.
Ooh.
I like lemon water.
A good pash.
Yeah.
Alright, cool. And we'll get back to them later on. They're going to form part of another activity that we're going to talk about later on. Righto? So I'm going to leave them there. We're going to explain why we need this course in the real world. That's the first thing we're going to talk about, just for a couple of minutes. Customers are always coming in saying, no, I want to have steak for dinner, but I want to have good wine to go with it. Or, if I'm going to have fish, do I need to have white wine? We're going to try and note out a few of those misconceptions today when we do a bit of a tasting. But a good sommelier has an arsenal of wines to use. So you should have 2 or 3 wines that will back you up that will say, this wine goes with fish, but you can also have this or this. And there's 3 or 4 red wines in Australia that go with fish, more so than they go with beef. And there's about 6 white wines that go better with beef than they do with fish. And one of them is in our tasting tonight. So, yeah, we'll have a few things that we'll explore. So, food and beverage, when we're doing food and beverage, which is F&B, and when we're getting into all of that. Distracting some other students. When we get into our F&B, we start to learn about more about what people like. So at the end of the day, being a sommelier is always about good communication. So listening to the customer. What does the customer want? Are they a heavy drinker? Are they a light drinker? Do they like to have a very strong wine or very weak wine? And it's hard to tell from the start, but the best way to do it is to know the wine yourself and then be able to push that wine to them. Alright, so that's what a sommelier does, is a wine maker, a wine man, wine seller, server. We'll have to discuss the notes of wine. So in front of you, everyone's got a few wines. So the colour and appearance is the first thing that is on your sheet. So when we're checking the colour and appearance, obviously this is a white, but it's not quite white, it's more of a yellowy honey colour. So we know that that's going to be sweeter. we've got red, but this is not quite deep red, it's a bit of a purple red. So there's all different variations to these colours. And then this is a fortified wine which is more brown than red, but it's based on a red wine. So it's an ambery colour. And we'll talk about what all the differences are. This is obviously just stock standard white wine, we can see through the bottle. You don't have a glass of that yet because we don't have any glasses. But anyway, in the tasting guide that you've got in front of you, what we're going to do is work through ourselves first, and we're going to use our alcoholic drink that we picked up here, and we're going to try and discuss the notes of that alcoholic drink. I know it's not wine, so it's harder to do, but what we're going to do is say, for instance, Jack Daniels, it's malty, obviously it's very strong. What does it feel like in your mouth? What colour is it? You know, is there a texture behind it? Same as vodka. Obviously vodka is just a very plain alcoholic drink, but if you had it straight, what notes would you be tasting from it? Tequila and vodka are very similar, but what's the difference between the two? So how do you know that tequila is specifically tequila? It could be vodka.
And Jack Daniels is probably a more viscous liquid than, say, vodka as well.
Yeah, so good term. So jot those ideas down right on top. So where it says vintage, write your drink of choice up there. Don't worry about date and wine and whatever. And then, so colour and appearance, you can tell, we can obviously tell that just by thinking about it. Then the notes of that drink, the nose would be what you smell. So with tequila, you get a lot of, it's very lime flavoured, like already has a very lime base to it, but obviously very strong. Leafy almost, like green. It's a very raw smell, whereas vodka is a very deeper, earthier smell than tequila. Tequila has like a leafy smell, but the vodka is more like earthy because it comes from a potato. Kahlua is obviously a coffee smell.
Yes.
Jack Daniels, you get some of that coffee, but then you get like a honeyish smell.
I get caramel.
Caramel flavour, caramel smell. And then the mouthfeel. So the mouthfeel doesn't only describe the taste, but what does it feel like in your mouth? Obviously, most of them burn if you roll them around your mouth because they're straight spirits. But once you get past the alcohol, what's the mouthfeel? You know, Kahlua is very velvety, smooth. So would Jack Daniels be, but obviously vodka is a bit more harsh on the tongue. Obviously, tequila is a bit fruitier, a little bit fizzy when you drink tequila straight. So a few different notes there.
Never really tasted Kahlua that goes there. That's what you know what I mean.
Yeah. See, Jack Daniels can be a bit spiced flavoured sometimes. You know, it depends on how old it is. Does the drink have any strong standout notes such as fruitiness or hoppiness? Like tequila gets that fruitiness and a little bit of hoppiness sometimes. I feel like it's a raw, leafy flavour. And texture in the mouthfeel, we should discuss the texture as well.
To be honest, I've never really paid much attention to this.
That's what I'm saying.
We're going to delve into it.
If it's your profession, it's what you have to do.
That's right.
If it's your profession, it's...
It'll be our profession after tonight. Alright, we're going to leave our handout there. Keep it open on that page because then we're going to watch this video here with that's my mouse, which is looking at me. Oh, hi Samantha.
Samantha? Hi.
What does this mean?
That just means it's on Gmail and I've logged out of my account.
So how do I log back in?
Not in my
Just
account,
go
you
down,
don't.
tap down, down to that. There's two things there. Okay.
So we're going to watch these. This is Gordon Ramsay. Yep. The sound might let us down here.
Oh, hang on, Ginny.
Yeah, give me the sound.
We'll need sound. Okay. Pause.
So watch this video and listen closely. Are you joking?
Wiggle it in the port. Technical issues. Right, come on. It was working. I was sending it correct.
Yeah.
No, it's in the right one. It's just, I think, because the cables are here are a bit pulled out.
Did you turn it down for me?
No.
I think a lot of dark cherry, you get a little bit of spice, but straight away you get things like cinnamon, cloves, star anise, all the kind of things that you use when you're cooking the pheasant out there. All those kind of ingredients are starting to come through. And I guess that's one of the key things when it comes to food and wine matching. You want to look for kind of like similar sort of weight between food and wine. You also want to look at similar kind of intensity of flavour.
And keep it sexy.
Absolutely.
Now, you're highly competitive.
Yes.
I'm going to test for you, okay? 3 of those extraordinary wines, and we try and tell me what you think they are. Here we go. I'm not saying anything.
There's going to be something like Blue Nun, £5 under.
Mate, £5 under. Absolutely on the nose. Blue Nun. Well done. One of my favourites. The heat is on a big point.
You should always trust your first instincts. And for me, first thing I sort of smell is kind of cedar. You know, there's a fair bit of oak in there. There's a fair bit of fruit weight as well. Dark plum, dark fruit. You know, straight away I'm kind of thinking big, rich, full body, great variety. I'm probably thinking New World as well. So
Really? Okay. Good taste. Now the heat's on, and you can see he's looking nervous. Come on.
that's turbocharged. There's some weight and muscle and intensity behind it. That's kind of like, it's awesome Shiraz or Cabernet probably from Australia. Here we go. Did I say awesome Shiraz?
Awesome Shiraz.
Thanks very much.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Okay, you ready?
yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Instantly, what do you think?
What? When I look at this wine? Well, I'm noticing the colour. The colour's nowhere near as deep as the previous wine. Sight's kind of probably the least important of all these three senses. You know?
Yeah. I mean, you close your eyes and that's how I always find it. You're losing it. What are you getting?
We're talking about a very different league
Right.
between that wine and this wine.
Okay.
So it's not getting away much on the nose. It's pretty flat, pretty dull. Soft, simple. It's even a little bit corked, Gordon. I can't believe you put on a wine that's just.
I would not do that to you. Come on. You think
It's
it's
just a little bit corked.
I'm not going to argue with you, folks. I don't mind fighting. But that's definitely not cooked.
And a little bit. You do the cooking, I'll do the wine.
Oh God, taxi. Okay, I'm going to taste.
God, it's probably going to be amazing Bordeaux or something like that, isn't it?
3, 2, 1.
Yeah, it's Bordeaux. It's Cabernet based wine from Bordeaux. Yeah.
What would you pay for it? How much would you pay for that?
30, 40 quid.
30, 40 quid. You've been eating far too many kangaroos, you know that. That was a £1,000 bottle of the truth. What's making you? For goodness sake.
Okay. So, what we take from that video is a lot of the describing words from the wines. So did anyone pick up on any describing words while we were watching?
Sexy.
Sexy is the first one. Oaky.
Cinnamon.
Cinnamon.
See
Cedar.
that's the one, yeah.
Spiced, earthy. You mentioned a lot of describing words.
New World.
And New World.
So that's
So the
the
biggest.
second, isn't it?
So Australia, Italy, Spain, France are Old World. New World are anything besides that.
Oh,
So Australia is very new for wines. New
Yeah.
Zealand, there's a heap of them.
mm.
So what we've learned is how to describe our wines. So if you went back to your sheet that you had originally to describe your alcoholic drink of choice, what would you add in there that you didn't have? What describing words would you use that you didn't have before? He mentioned the colour as well. He spoke a lot about the colour. You know, colour, sight is he actually said that sight, he looked at the wine, he said sight is the least important. So just because we can tell it's a red or tell it's a white, it doesn't give us anything else. Sight's the least important. Okay, we'll skip on to the next bit. We're going to use our newfound knowledge from that video and we're going to start to drink some wine, which is exciting. Okay, so what we're going to do on the second sheet that you've got, today's date doesn't really matter. The first one that we've got is a Lily Pilly Noble blend. And all it says on the back, the reason I brought Lily Pilly wines in is because the backing labels of them are usually very simple. So, For instance, the Noble Blend says, a sweet white wine from the Riverina. That's it. Sweet white wine, Riverina. Vermentino, which we'll have later on with dinner, all that says is dry white wine, Riverina. So it doesn't really, there's no other, you know, no other describing words. So obviously as a sommelier we need to learn that, hang on,
It's more to it than that.
there's more to it than just that. We know it's Noble Blend, that's the blend of the wine. So let's have a sip of this Noble Blend. I'm going to play with you as well. And then, first of all, let's note the first thing on our thing is its colour, appearance. We said before that it is very yellow for a white wine, almost honey-like. And even the consistency, which we can see by looking at it as well, is very syrupy.
Yeah, it's thick. Yeah.
It's thick.
Is that as an official word? Syrupy?
Syrupy. Yeah.
Okay. 'Cause, yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Next, we're up to our nose. So, tart. You can get a bit of tang or tartness. What else do you get? I get a lot of sweetness from the
A
nose.
bit of spice too.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little slight.
Give it a swell, you know, we're all pompous. Give it a swell, have a sniff again. Because you get more, as you swell more, you get more, because you lean more air into it.
There's 3 different
There's
notes.
definitely a bit of fruity
Yeah, what kind of fruit would you use to describe that smell?
berries.
Berries.
Mm.
Pear? Apricot?
Citrus. Yeah, apricot, yeah.
Apricot? It is citrusy, but more apricot-y.
Yeah, yeah.
Mouthfeel is the most important bit. So,
Okay.
and make sure you cover your whole palate with it. You can spit it out, you don't have to drink it.
Is that why we've got the cup?
That's why you got the mug to spit into. It's very, very sweet.
It is sweet.
Very, very sweet. And the apricot follow-on comes through,
Yeah,
I think.
I was just about to say I could taste the apricot. Yeah, I'm not a sweet person. That's pretty cloying to my palate.
The last bit on this sheet is a conclusion or a score. And this links directly back to this, what we're trying to learn, is how to make a conclusion, how to form an opinion about this one. So do you like it, do you not? And in that section as well, try and think of what would this wine go with? What am I drinking this with tonight? Would you have it with dessert, or is it too sweet to have with dessert? Or it depends what kind of cake you've got, or
I'd say cheese.
cheese.
Well, you want to contrast the bitterness, I imagine.
Write your answers in, we're going to check them all. We're going to play around with them as we go. We can move on to one number 2. In the meantime, have a little sip of water in your water glass.
What is the most nice? Oh, that's good. Oh, this bag. Where's the sorbet? Isn't that a blend like kind of thing?
Sorry, I didn't have enough time to make sorbet.
Oh, right,
Thanks.
Yep. Six.
And we're going to move to the red, the purple, yeah, the middle. And this is this Cobbity Amabil.
Cobbity what?
Cobbity wines. It's an Amabil, which is the type of wine. And it's a mellow red table wine. And that's all it says on the. That's all it says on the label, which is obviously why I bought this one as well. So colour, deep red grape.
Yeah.
When you swirl it, you're actually looking for any oils that sort of cling to the glass. So if you see any sort of oils to cling, and there's not many in this, so there's no. We'll get to what they call
syrupy,
them.
so
It's not syrupy.
It's not.
Is there a notice?
Either.
It's a bit bubbly.
Bubbly.
If you swirl it, it's a bit bubbly. The nose.
Oh,
It's very oaky.
Oak, yes.
yeah, woody. Earthy.
It's not as sharp as the previous one.
It's It's not as tart. It is very sweet as well. I was nice to everybody and I got lots of sweet ones. So there's only one really dry.
That's really earthy.
If you can't get past the nose, skip to the taste. Skip to the mouthfeel.
Yeah.
I love it.
Sorry. Actually,
Okay.
Definitely
Make
tastes a
it-
bit more earthy than that.
Make a conclusion. Give us your score. Give us your opinion. And then we move on to the third one.
mix your wines.
I said I will.
Oh,
You should have, but I will.
okay, so this is more about. What's this one called? The third one?
So this is a Fumaro 7. And all it says is Dominic Blend Fortified Wine. Estate bottle. And it does have the family history of the winery, but it doesn't describe the wine any further.
Yeah, no wonder the Lily Phillies is on business class on Qantas or something. Is it?
Oh, I like the smell of that. Bourbon.
Yeah, I get a real bourbony. So that's like your oaky, that's a...
Oh, yeah. What's the word?
So that's where it smells a bit malty
That
to
smells
me.
like-
barrel, barrel. It's stored in a barrel,
It's
aged. The colour is a very amber, but it does have a red tinge to it,
White
More-
brown.
light brown reddish tinge.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, it is a little bit more syrupy like the first one,
Yeah.
and there is a fair bit of oils in it which are called tannins. We'll talk a bit about them after. And you can see that they're clinging to the glass. Cherries, maybe like caramelised apples,
Yeah.
apple pie.
Caramel, is that a word?
It can be.
It's a strong
You're
one.
not a dessert wine person.
This is your after dinner wine. So make a conclusion on that one.
Yeah.
Do you know that those were really bad? The comedy one is probably the least distinctive. I think that's probably because we have the sweet in between.
You love drinking,
If you have a clean water glass, we'll taste this. You've got a clean water
I
glass.
can very quickly have a clean water glass.
You too.
Yeah.
You like it? You can go back to your first page and use this one.
So which one's this?
This is a Vermentino, and it's an award winner, Best White Dry Varietal at the Royal Agricultural Society of Western Australia in Perth. And again, nothing but dry white wine, Riverina region. And I really don't like that, so I'm not going to even try and sip it and taste it.
Just very, it's definitely white.
It's almost,
It's very pale.
yeah, very pale.
Pale, very pale, yeah. Nose.
It's definitely fruity.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Smells fruity, but
It's got a bit of limey, lemony.
I get lemon pie.
Limey,
So
yeah.
very citrusy, fruity, citrusy.
I can smell it.
You know, it's not.
You know,
See, to me, it's more mandarin.
Okay.
more sweet.
That means that sort of citrusy but sweet. You know?
Mhm.
Oh,
I thought it was the one.
And once you do have a sip, it's really.
yes, yeah. That's the
Oh,
word.
look at your face, great.
You like that one? like any? No. You got a one.
I haven't converted you into any wines. Okay.
That's a hard ask.
Conclude all your findings, score your wines, and put a little star next to your favourite of the night as well. And once you finish that, you're all free to go for a little bit of a break. Go to the toilet. Go rinse your mouth out if you like. Brush your teeth.
Finish them off.
But you'll need a clean palate so that when we come back, we're going to start too much of the food.
Oh,
So that's our
okay.
next thing.
Okay.
So take a short break, finish your findings, take a short break.
Don't drink it all.
Don't drink any
Okay.
wine.
Should we pause the,
Chicken kebabs there.
Hi, I'm Rachel May, and today we're going to talk about wine pairings. Now, there's certain elements of wine. There's sugar, acid, fruit, tannins, and alcohol. And there's also flavor components of food. There's fat, acid, salt, sweet, bitter, and texture. So when we think about pairing, we need to think about how these flavor elements are going to work together. Let's talk about some of the basic rules of wine pairing. Rule number 1, hors d'oeuvres need a dry rosé. The reason is, a rosé combines the light crispness of a white with the fruitiness of a red. And if you have a table of hors d'oeuvres, there's many different flavors and textures that you need to accommodate. Rule number 2, acid needs acid. So any food that has a high acidic level, something you'd want to squeeze a lemon onto, that's a great pairing with a light, citrusy, acidic white wine. If you have a dish like chicken piccata, pasta with tomato sauce, or a roasted fish with citrus, which will pair with a bright citrusy Pinot Grigio or Sauvignon Blanc. It'll be like a zap of fresh lemon in your dish. Rule number 3, tannins need fat. If you have food with a higher fat content, say a marbled ribeye steak or a braised duck or grilled sausages, you really need a wine with a textural element that will balance it out. If you pair with a bold red wine, like a Syrah or a Cabernet, the tannins in that red wine really balance out the fat element. Rule number 4, heat meets sweet. If you're serving a dish that has a little kick to it or a little bit of spice, you're going to need a lighter, slightly sweet wine to pair with it. A good example would be a Riesling or a White Symphony. Rule number 5, salty needs bubbles. Now it can be a little hard to pair salty or fried foods with the wine, but similar to a beer, the carbonation of the sparkling wine adds a whole different texture and brings a whole new flavor to it. Rule number 6, earthy needs earthy. Now if you have an earthier food, like mushrooms, lentils, or gamey beans, they're going to be great paired with an earthy wine. A good choice would be a Syrah or a Pinot Noir. You really want to think about your dominant flavors. Is it sweet? Is it salty? Is it citrusy? These are the elements you want to consider when pairing your wine with your entree. Hopefully this gives you a better idea for how to pair your wines with your food. These tips are brought to you by Chateau.
Okay.
Just
Stop her up before she uses the plug. So, now we get to the fun bit where we get to apply that knowledge that we've just learned. And we'll discuss the notes that we have on our wines from earlier, from our wine tasting earlier. And we're going to discuss them, and then I've got a few things to pair with. So we've got a brie cheese, some salami, and then everyone's got a beef souvlaki, which is the meat stick, and everyone's got dairy milk chocolate and a cherry rice. Alright? So we'll just go around the room one by one. I've got what I feel is the answers, but we'll go around the room one by one and we'll see if anyone can pick up, or if anyone has an idea of already, just throw your hand up, who thinks what would go with what. So let's start with the first one that we tasted. What are we going to match with our Noble blend? Which is the first one, fruity. What other notes do we have about Noble blend?
Lemon goes with lemon. I remember that.
The sweet needs heat usually.
Sweet needs heat, so you go with sweet and salami out of these options.
The salami. Right, let's get the salami.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
don't be shy.
take a bit.
Take a bit of salami.
I'll have a piece too of that.
Get your
So
Noble blend that you've still got lying around somewhere?
I've got 3 bits.
That's all right, don't be shy. You can use the whole.
Now, which one are we using? The Noble, that was the
Noble,
regular,
the
the
first
second
one.
one, the first one.
I don't want to take anything
So
home.
we have the meat
So-
first.
Try the meat first. I like to, you can do it either way, but I usually have the wine first, eat the food, have the wine again.
Okay. Not really spicy though.
It's not very spicy, it's a lemon, but I knew that. It is an okay match. Anything that you think would be better that we've got? Any other ideas?
The other way.
Who's the super up with what?
No, it's spiced. I'm going to throw a spanner in the works and ask everyone to try some cheese with the Noble blend.
That's what I wrote to start with.
Everyone's got some crackers there, something?
Nope.
Oh, we do on crackers.
You can do it.
Oh, sweet and salty.
So because we're using new age wines as well, sometimes the old age matches don't work for us.
Ah, yeah.
And brie, we've got
Okay. Oh,
sipper wine,
Which one?
Noble blend still. We're still trying to get over this first one. Oh, you put it.
I've run
I
out.
like that one.
Yeah.
I've only got a little dreg left.
Actually, that goes better, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So we're trying to find harmonious. Sometimes as well, the colour of the food that you match with the wine works together.
That's what they say, white with fish, is that right?
That's why. That's how they got the misconception of white fish.
It makes it taste more
So it's
cheesy.
supposed to taste good together, like not,
Mm.
oh, not, yeah,
Contrasting.
different, not contrasting, yeah.
It definitely seems to bring out more flavour on the palate. Once you have a glass like a sip of wine and then you eat the cheese is like cheesier.
The cheese is cheesier. That's what. So when we work with the food like that, we're trying to enhance the flavour of the food and make the wine sing at the same time. And I think they work really well together. All right, have some water. Now, what was the second one we tried? The Cobody. This is interesting.
Okay, woody, earthy.
Depends what notes you got on this wine as to what it's going to match with.
I think your first instinct is to go to bed.
Okay.
But
We'll see. I got.
That's what I recommend, red
The
meat.
second time I had a sip after I had the dry, I got more like currant and stuff from that particular one.
Well, let's go with Vanessa's idea. Let's try the beef first with the Cobody. Oh, how about that? They're so tender. Not me, just Mrs. Gay. No.
Okay.
Not bad.
it's even different to your nose once you start eating, to be honest.
Even smelling the wine is different, like Vanessa just said.
Yeah.
I think they're working against each other.
Reckon?
This beef and this red don't go together.
Okay.
And there's a real standout reason why, but you need to know how the food's made.
Doesn't
Okay, so there's a bit of a bit of an aftertaste in the meat.
Yeah, so there's lots of acid in the meat.
Actually,
So it's really not
Right,
going to work really well with the tannins in the wine. Because there's a lot of tannin in there.
okay.
Okay, what else? What else can we have with it? Chocolate. Have a go.
Okay, oh good.
Try the dairy milk.
Yeah.
Plain chocolate first.
You said that you had chocolate with wine, though?
Yeah.
Have you been to my house on Friday night?
No, you never invited me.
I have. I come in there on Monday night, it's pretty good too.
That's good. I think
Oh,
chocolate,
wow.
chocolate and red wine are a match made in
Wow.
heaven.
Oh, that makes the wine taste nice.
Makes the wine taste nicer.
Oh,
Because
nice.
it's
Sorry,
sweet,
real
chocolate's
nice.
sweet, so getting rid of the tannins.
Yeah.
So this
It
is an
deepens the
old.
flavour of the chocolate.
Mm.
This is the old way to taste red wine with chocolate. You'd always have it with chocolate, so you're wrecking the tannins. You're knocking back the tannins in the wine.
That tastes
That's good.
But with the New World wine, which is what we're using, you wouldn't do that technique anymore. It's not the right technique. We're not enhancing the wine, we're pushing it down by having the chocolate with it.
Okay.
Everyone have a bit of salami with your...
But it also, to me, it also tastes warmer, but on the palate than
Oh, really?
it was when it was sweeter before, but with the chocolate it tastes
I won't go for
a bit of salami.
Oh, sorry. I'm not going to
Open the other side.
So that really have to read. Oh, no. Strong taste, yeah.
Enhances the flavour of the wine. The salami tastes more saltier. So this, I'll give you a little bit of a trick that I didn't tell you earlier. This comedy wine is actually a lambrusco, so it's not a wine that you typically have with meat, because it's not made for that purpose. It's made for more of an hors d'oeuvre. When someone comes to your house and you're having antipasto, you'd have lambrusco. And so that's why it sort of matches better with the salami, and the meat doesn't really go with. If you had veal on the table, veal in a red sauce or something, that's what you're having that with. Sausages in a red sauce, like Italian sausages only in red sauce. That's what that goes with, but not with Greek souvlaki. So there you go, a little bit there. What was the third one? Fumara 7. So sweet, fortified. What notes did you get on the Fumara 7?
Caramelly, fruity,
Caramelly, fruity,
yeah.
malty. What do we, if this is labelled as a sweet wine, fortified wine, Vanessa's full.
You just need those bubbles coming out of you like a Disney duck.
What do we think this is going to go better with? Anybody want to get a stab in the dark?
Me.
Try with
Pasta.
You can try
I was
with
going to
it.
say pasta. Oh, shoot. That was the
Which
last
meat?
one, wasn't it?
What are we trying with?
You can try with the souvlaki if you like. I don't think that would be very good meat. That's a lamb one. It doesn't matter.
It's meat. Ooh, yeah,
No. I think the souvlaki is too tangy to have with that.
no.
What about the dairy milk chocolate? Because
Yeah.
it's a dessert one. Let's try with the dessert.
This time I'm taking 3 bites out of a piece of chocolate.
Savouring the chocolate. What
I
about
think
that?
that's too sweet now.
I'm not eating that one.
You know what's probably going to be even better for us? If we have a cherry ripe. Because we've got malt, and cherry ripe is typically dark chocolate. And that gets rid of the blow your head off.
It does. Wow, big difference. Wow.
And the difference is, one's Nestle, one's Cadbury.
Ah.
No, the difference is, one's got cherries in it and one's dark chocolate.
That fruit.
The fruit, which you need.
Well, that does taste, yeah.
So I would say that the cherry ripe goes with it, but it's funny that the cherry ripe matches with it, but any other chocolate wouldn't really go.
Yeah.
Well, another chocolate that I had at home that I wasn't going to bring in because I got it as a Father's Day present was Maltesers, and they would really go with that because it's malty.
Oh, yeah, true.
So it has a bit of salt in it as well. And the last one, the dry.
Yeah.
You don't have any left, so you can have some more.
Oh, this tastes.
Let's work on this dry one.
This one.
Shaz.
Yeah.
Happy.
Oh, Kathy.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
just coming to.
No.
Oh, no, this one. Oh, I didn't have the answer to this one. So it must be the meat then.
It must be the meat.
Because it's got the citrus, that acid in the
Taste it.
marinade. Yeah.
Have them together.
Okay.
Do you want some dry? No, you don't want dry one.
I've had more wine tonight than I had in my lifetime.
Oh, well.
See, that's why I love Charles Sturt, because they made their own wines. And you get the wine, you make friends with the winery students, and then you get, when they get their vintage come in, it's like, no.
Live with the worker from Casella. I'm all right. Oh, nice. That's really
I like
nice.
So it sort of cleanses the
That's
palate,
interesting, yeah.
gets rid of the beefiness, and brings out the acidity.
Mhm.
Okay. So acid needs acid. So we all said that it was very citrusy. It's a dry, citrusy. So we've all got our summary. So we've all got a summary now of all our findings from today. Keep your sheet with you. You'll need it for your assessment as you get closer to doing your assessments. Remember the notes. Try and remember the 6 basic rules of your food pairing with wine. So we've discussed all those elements in 2.1, 2.3 of the course, 2.1 to 2.3. If there's any questions or whatever, we can catch up later on. We move into a more in-depth part of this course as we go on, so I'll hopefully catch up with you then in the rest of your Certificate 3 in Hospitality. But otherwise, that's the end of our class today.
Awesome.